Here is a list of equipment needed for a full O-ring and driver blade replacement. We recommend purchasing genuine Tackwise parts to avoid tool malfunction. Always ensure you take the necessary safety precautions before starting. We recommend wearing safety goggles, gloves, and facing the tool away from your face at all times. Always disconnect your tool from the airline and ensure all fasteners have been removed before making any repairs. Prepare your work area by laying out all of the O-rings on your work surface. Remove the top cap by unscrewing the 4 Allen bolts with the Allen key. Store safely in a dish to the side of your workspace. Remove the collar. Remove the cylinder and driver blade. Place the driver blade to one side as this will be replaced later. Remove the restrictive plate and bumper from the cylinder. Store safely to the side of your workspace. To access the trigger, use your pick and hook tool to remove the trigger pin and washer. Remove the trigger and spring. Use your punch and hammer to gently knock out the 2 spring pins which hold the complete trigger unit in place. The trigger valve guide and trigger valve stem will release where the trigger sits. You may need to go in through the main body of the tool, as demonstrated, to push the trigger valve head and the valve set out of the tool. These will release where the trigger usually sits. Use the hook or chosen tool to carefully remove the O-rings from the valve set one at a time. Match with the correct size and replace, ensuring each new O-ring is correctly placed into position. Occasionally, an O-ring from the valve set may remain in the tool. If so, use your hook to carefully remove it, match it up with the correct replacement size, and reassemble onto the valve set. Take care not to damage the O-rings here. If damaged, do not use, as this may cause the tool to malfunction. Lightly oil. Reassemble the valve set. Use the hook or chosen tool to carefully remove the O-rings from the trigger valve head and trigger valve stem. Lightly oil. Reassemble the trigger valve head. Followed by the small spring. The trigger valve stem and trigger valve guide. Hold the parts in place while you gently knock the 2 spring pins back into position using your hammer. Reassemble the trigger and spring using the trigger pin to fasten into position. Reassemble the washer. Remove the head valve and spring from the top cap, by tapping the top cap on a wooden block or hard surface. Use the hook or chosen tool to carefully remove the O-rings from the head valve one at a time. Match with the correct size and replace, ensuring each new O-ring is correctly placed into position. Lightly oil and reassemble the spring into the head valve. Reassemble the head valve into the top cap. Use the hook or chosen tool to carefully remove the O-rings from the cylinder and restrictive plate one at a time. Match with the correct size and replace, ensuring each new O-ring is correctly placed into position. Lightly oil. Guide the restrictive plate back into position on the cylinder, ensuring the smooth side is facing downwards. Replace the driver unit with the new one, lightly oil and slide into the cylinder. Reassemble the bumper into the cylinder after carefully checking it for wear and tear. If you see any signs of damage, such as tears or cracks, replace the bumper, as this could cause the tool to malfunction. Carefully guide the cylinder back into the main body of the tool, ensuring the smooth side of the piston leg is facing the front of the tool. Reassemble the collar. Reassemble the top cap, using the Allen key to tighten each of the 4 Allen bolts a little at a time. Take care not to over-tighten the bolts here, as this may damage the gasket. We recommend testing the tool before use to ensure the trigger mechanism works in accordance with the manual.